Officially. I wanted to get on here at our now new normal time when it comes to this daily streaming, um, B9 a.m. Pacific Standard. Um, but since I was up here working on my business plan and I've talked about it a few times without getting into the details, I figured I'd make that today's topic of conversation, considering the fact that I'm kind of in the weeds of working on it. And there's not really much that goes out there. Yes, there's, a bit of content here and there when it comes to talking about business plans and the need for business plans and all that other stuff. And, a lot of us musicians just want to make the beeps go boop and do old knobby twisty. But there's a different side of the industry, and there's a lot of us here that are attempting to break through that and get through all this on a business level, and not all of us are business savvy. Not all of us, understand the whole concept of a business plan and the importance of it. So I just wanted to get on and talk about it real quick and go through some of the details. I'm not going to go through all the details of my particular business plan as I'm putting it together, but I will share a few things. So, first thing is, when's a good time to have a business plan? The answer is yesterday, last week, last month, last year. You should always have a business plan on deck to execute what you're going to be doing. I'm the one son. Welcome. How's it good? How's it going? Good talking to you yesterday, my friend. Um, so it's kind of like business cards. You got to always be prepared to hand somebody in person something that they could go look at what you represent, and you could do that with business cards. It's great, and just come up with something practical that, has access to your stuff. I mean, I should have done a QR code that would have, but we'll make others when we run out of those. It'll be fine, and we're just getting out there. So, this first round of business cards, it's just enough to get people out there, especially because I'm talking to people in person. But a business plan is a different animal. It's more in depth, it's more detailed. The first thing is that one of the reasons that you need a business plan to execute whatever you're doing is because, especially in music, you're only as good as your last release. And the same goes for YouTube on here as well. You're only as good as what you're doing. And your past, while it may matter to some extent, it's not important to what you are going to do in the future. So you can't just go with your history and expect your representation of your history to carry the weight of what your future plans are or what your current plans are, depending on what you want to do. Um, you got to be prepared. You got to be prepared. And if you're at a point to where you're making music and you're trying to navigate through this shady business and figure out where to fit in, um, most people forego business plans, especially in music. So already right off the bat, if you're trying to be successful or become successful in music, if you have a business plan and most people don't, right off that bat, that puts you in a different category. You know, um, One of the things that I used to, let people know, when it came to clients coming in the studio was the need for professional packaging of their albums because people just think that they could just throw their music out there willy-nilly. And before streaming, it was the same thing. People would, get burnt CDs and write on CDs and throw it out there. And I told them automatically that is being disregarded by all the professionals that you're trying to reach. So if you're trying to reach something at a professional level, having your handwritten CD isn't going to cut it. You could be the best MC on the planet. You could be the best musician on the planet. You could have the best to offer more than anybody else. But it's not going to happen for you if you don't have things structured. Carbon Vibes, what is good? Salute, my friend. Good seeing you. So, when it comes down to the business plan, it's the same as making CDs and putting yourself out there. You know, when I was on tour, it was funny because they called those record release parties when people would hand CDs. It's like, here's another record release party, chuck it out the window. You know what CDs didn't get chucked out the window? The ones that had a full jewel case with graphic shrink wrapped, because automatically it looks like something that you have in the store. So while some people may be like, hey, record release, and throw that written CD out the window, they would look at the one that's professionally done and say, whoa, all these people gave me this CD of their work that they did at home, seemingly, and some of them could have recorded in recording studios, but they had that Sharpie written on their thing. They didn't have an actual jewel case. They didn't have graphics and professional packaging. But the one CD that they did get that had that on it, they're like, hey, maybe I'll listen to this. Maybe I'll check it out. Or worst case scenario to be, I'll save this for later and check it out at home. A lot of the times it doesn't get included in those record release parties and get chucked out the window. So that's kind of the same concept here, is the need for a business plan when it comes down to it. You know, I know it's something that, you know, us as musicians and creatives, we don't like to focus on. We don't like to think of the business aspect. There's a lot of work that goes into it. There's a lot of detail to express. And, you know, why can't somebody just believe in your work and put you out there based on your body of work and the things that you did? Because it doesn't work like that in this industry. It doesn't, you know. And I'm not here to condescend to know everything about how things go in the industry, but I do know that if you have a business plan versus not having a business plan, it automatically places you in a category that sets you apart from all the people that are not doing it as professionally. So you're automatically placing yourself at a category of professionalism that has you taken serious, especially if it's something that you're seriously trying to execute as a project. You know, I'm to the frame of mind, even though I haven't practiced what I'm preaching here a lot of times, but it's a part of growing pains, growing up, you know. I think that you need a business plan to release an album, you know. You don't need one, but if you have one, and it's just like writing things on paper, you know, when it's written down on paper or when it's typed out and you have it to where your eyes are taking that in and your brain is computing it, you remember it more. So you structure it, it kind of wires your brain to facilitate what movement you're going to make moving forward. You know, so that's real helpful to our consciousness, because us as human beings, it's difficult to do, especially in the abstract of making music, you know, music production, and, you know, especially in the hip hop world, you know, you MCs coming out here, you know what I mean? Everybody's a dime a dozen, you know, but what's not dime a dozen are people that have a business plan ready to execute. You know, those who fail to plan. I am the one son. Yeah, perfect. That was perfectly said. You know, there's a lot of wondering why you don't make it a certain level and you don't do a certain thing, or, you know, people aren't paying attention a certain way. It's not because you don't have a business plan. You could be successful without a business plan, but why wait for somebody else to invest in your success, you know, when you have yourself to invest in, and you have, you know, your own mind and capabilities to do what you need to do with the business plan? It may be something we don't like to talk about as, come on, man, really? Is that how it is? Yeah, crazy trolls. Man, take that racist shit the hell out of here. There you go. Hold on, let me get this going. Just make sure I don't have my crap here. There you go. Take that. I'll just do it myself and take it all out. What are you talking about? Satan merchant. Yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about here with all the trolls. It always happens this way. You know what I mean? And it's crazy. It's just crazy. Let's see. There you go. Take that. And there you go. Thanks, Carbon Vibes. It is a really good topic to discuss. And people could talk all the shit they want. The trolls could come in through. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Um, yeah, people could talk all the mess they want, when it comes down to it. Um, but it's not going to stop you from needing a business plan moving forward. It's not going to make you successful, and anybody could say what they want about my successes or failures, but, I've done a lot. And everything that I've done, there has been a business plan behind it, to a certain extent. Like I said, I wasn't always this, up to par with things when it comes to the business acclimate, but um, you're going to need something. You're going to need something to set yourself aside from everybody else and stand out. But most importantly, you're going to need the ability to execute. Hello, what is good? Welcome. And in order to execute something, you really have to have it down and structured what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, how you're going to execute each move. And if you're in an expansive industry, something abstract like music, and you have all these roads to go down, and there's different variations of where they lead, consequences of specific moves, you need to know which action is going to lead to which, what plans you need to execute, because it's all a stepping stone. It all starts from one idea, and then it goes into executing. And when you execute that idea and it begins to unravel, then you could web it out and really maximize your potential and what you want to do when it comes to business. What are you going to do when somebody comes up to you and says, "Hey, I like the cut of your jib. I like the way that you work. I like your work history. I like the things that you've done. What do you got going on?" "I don't have time to listen. Let me see your business plan." Yo, most of us, if we're asked for a business plan, can't just pull it out of our pockets and be like, "Well, as a matter of fact." And that's what we need to be doing, because there's so much suppression in this industry. A lot of it has to do with not being taken seriously. And, if you're leveraging your positioning to be taken more serious, the best way to do that is through business, and through understanding your business and understanding where you want to go with your business. So, unfortunately, it's something that is uncomfortable as it is with musicians, and how it's kind of the antithesis of working and knobby twisty and beeps go boop and all that stuff. It's needed. It's needed. So I'm just going to go through a few of the details here, because I have the thing pulled up here. You know, you always want to have something to reference, not only for yourself but for other people. And even if you have a website, to be like, "Come check me out at the website." Well, that's an extra step. This is easy to give to somebody. Shaba, Sonic Allah, what is good? This is good to give to somebody, but they still have to do the work. They still have to do the work and go to the website. And even if I explain to them, "Hey, these are my albums that I made, I produce, and this logo here is because you could find Viral Beats on YouTube," they still have to do the work to go and find you. But if you're talking to somebody on a business level and trying to execute a plan, how are you going to execute a plan that's only in your head? How are you going to get out what's in your head to be able to talk to somebody? And I'm going through this now. What the F do you do besides being like, "Yeah, yeah, To do besides being lazy, expecting it to work itself. Yeah, and that's crazy because it's not just in the American music market, it's everywhere, and unfortunately in music, especially when it comes to the United States, um, you have to have it together business wise. And you could tell some of the more popular content creators have touched on down on this subject of having your business in order. And as much as we all like to just not deal with it, we have to deal with it. Nobody's going to see in your head what you have in your head. Shout out. Say, Mauricio, what is good? Welcome. Yeah, they're not going to see what's in your head, even if you paint a picture for them. Not everybody is clairvoyant to the point to where they could visualize what you're trying to express to them. A few of us do, most of us don't. And even then, even if we do and can visualize it, nobody's going to visualize it to the point that you're trying to get your point across. That was one of the reasons why I became an audio engineer, because I knew in my head what I wanted this music to come out, how I wanted this music to come out, and how I wanted it to sound. And it was difficult for me to express the idea to the sound engineer, so it was a back and forth trying to figure out the balance of getting out what's in my head through an intermediary, like a proxy or something. So I just went to college. I went to school for audio production and learned how to do it myself. So I didn't have to go through, a third party to be able to dictate the ideas that are in my head. So nobody's going to ever be able to express or understand what is inside here, even if you're just vocalizing it, no matter what their understanding is or how good the meeting is, or how good of a person you're talking to. It doesn't matter. Having it all on paper or having it there to where you could just send the file and be like, this is all I'm trying to do, laid out right there, then and there. And the more detail you have, the better. You know, you should have a 1 year plan, a 3 year plan, a 5 year plan, phase one, two, and three, every detail of the things that you've done, just a little brief history of that, and a brief history of where you want to go, and then lay out the details of everything, every cost, every road that you could possibly go down. So I'm going to share with you guys a little bit of my business plan where it sits now, because it's about 4 years out of date. Because I got up here on YouTube and just started winging it, and now it's getting to the point to where I'm not getting off of YouTube, but beginning to execute some plans that I was already, thinking about having in place beforehand when I designed this business plan. So now it's like I said in the other live stream. Now I got to go around and change the business plan and modify it to include these past 4 years, which I was going to go down and just edit it and cut and paste and everything. And I'm like, I need to start from scratch. Knowing the business plan world and, doing all this stuff in marketing, and, I need to go to the drawing board with it, and it's not going to be that difficult because I know what I want to do in my head. But so let me show you a little bit over here. So I have this, here we go. I have this pulled up in my phone, right? So right away, first page, label logo, have the company history. Hold on. Company history, first and foremost, let people know where I've been with everything. Other business here attached to it, because originally when we started here, Viral Beats has been, it was launched as a subsidiary of Virus Music. It goes, Virus Music is the company, and the subsidiaries under the company are Viral Beats and M Music, or M Graphics, which M Graphics is the graphic design company that I started to get going before getting on YouTube. And now it's gotten to a point to where instead of doing a subsidiary, I'm separating these entities now. So Viral Beats is going to be an entity on its own. It's independently of Virus Music. They're not going to be attached to one another, because when I did my business license, I had them all doing business as. So my business license reads Virus Music, and then it said DBA, doing business as Viral Beats and M Graphics, and it gives me the legality to, you know, use those businesses. So if anything comes in from one of the other businesses, I could just file it under Virus Music and say, hey, I got this subsidiary. But I'm separating the entities now. I'm separating the entities, and it's going to be, kind of a headache, but not really. Needs social plans, business plans, and creative plans, and bounce them off each other. That is a very good point. That is a very good point. Um, Business plans nowadays, especially with social media and everything the way that it is with content, yeah, it should include the socials. It should include the stuff also that we don't like to do as artists. Being artists, we love the creative aspects. However, if you don't take care of the business will take care of you, and not in a good way. The dollars must make good sense. Well said, sir. So yeah, and that's really what it comes down to here. And I'm not one of these arrogant dudes that's like, hey, listen to me because I'm this ever-seeing, all-knowing, entity or whatever. It's just something that I'm working on right now, and I'm familiar with this, subject, and I kind of wanted to address this issue because a lot of people, are like, business plan, get the fuck out of here, or want to hear more about it. And I'm just like, well, I'm working on this business plan. And everybody's like, what? I want to hear more about this business plan. You know what I mean? And I get it. I get it. So that's why we're here doing this here. So Viral Beats, these are my rates. And, I put that right at the top. What we're doing for the studios, everything. All the equipment needed for Viral Beats, which has changed because some of it we've obtained and don't need anymore. These units were for the lab, and explaining here the lab, M Graphics, going through explaining my graphic design business and everything going through that. And I did have a bunch of shirts here, but it's not pulling up on the preview. I designed 60 t-shirt designs I have on deck. But it takes a lot to run a t-shirt business. It takes a lot to get the stuff going, to get the equipment. So I just have the designs now. Where do you put all these ideas that you have in your head that you don't have the ability to execute because you're too busy in the weeds doing one thing or the other? Business plan. Business plan. Because if you're in the production aspect of things and you're not executing the plan, or you're executing just the pre-production element of it and you're just getting started with it, then yeah, just include what you're working on that you need to do later into your business plan. Even if you have to take notes or just get files or whatever, just keep in mind that, hey, I'm going to have this and I'm going to put this to the business plan. So, I got all these shirt designs, and I got a bunch of other shirt designs to redesign. So by the time M Graphics is launched and I'm ready to execute my business plan, I will have over 100 shirt designs ready to go, enough for an entire clothing line. And that's only the graphic design portion of my business. So, like, there's still the music element to consider. So, the graphic design element of my business in particular is third. It goes Virus Music, Viral Beats, and M Graphics, because I still need to release music independently. I can't release the Viral Beats work without Virus Music. Every Viral Beats release up to now is released through Virus Music, because Viral Beats isn't a record label, isn't a production company. I mean, it's production company, but not that type of production. You know what I mean? When it comes to, making music, there has to be a label attached to it that puts it out there. you know, and that's not Viral Beats. Viral Beats does the production and operates here on YouTube, you know. Virus Music is where all the music goes through. So every single Viral Beats release is a Virus Music release. So I'm going to separate these entities, but still operate them all at the same time. So I definitely need a business plan for what I'm doing. You know, I go through and I go explain the thing with the shirts, you know, explain the alternative from going and having them pressed, which is doing your own, you know, getting a plotter, getting, you know, printer, lights, you know, all this stuff that one would need for a setup for things, you know what I mean? The drying tray, the cost of it, like exactly what you need and how you need. This is the kind of stuff that you need in a business plan, because people are like, oh, well, that's great that you want to do a shirt business. Not everybody knows how a shirt business operates. But that's especially the truth with music, because most of the people who get involved with music, as far as an investment level goes, um, they just want to hear the music. They just want to take part in the success. But a lot of them are not creatives when it comes to what we do as musicians and producers. So, you know, you got to show them your vision. And the business plan is like I said, it's not only the way to show your vision of where you want to go in the future and where you're going currently and where you've been in the past, but it's also helpful to your own understanding, making it easier and more fluid to execute what your plans are. So you already have it in your mind, in the back of your mind. You know, you're reading your business plan in your head. So you don't need the piece of paper in front, like, okay, what is this going to be logistically? You already know the logistics because you have it down, because you have your business plan. And what happens if you're in the middle of execution? You know, somebody's like, hey, you know, um, you know, like I said, I like this, you know, I like what you're doing. And you're like, I got it figured out. This is what I'm doing. The only thing I need is, you know, the right thing to make, because there's different needs for different businesses. Most of it's money. Most of it comes down to money. You know, it takes an initial investment of your business, whether it be you or somebody else, to execute the plans that you need to execute. And if you're operating on limited resources and you're executing your plan based on your own resources, even better. I'm so guilty of all this. We all are. I've been sitting on this business plan for 4 years. So if anybody would have or could have come up to me in the past 4 years and said, hey, let me see your business plan, I would have to go in and redesign it and do it all over again. I'm not prepared either. I'm here right now preparing, you know, because I've been fucking with y'all. No, I'm just kidding. You know, it's just, you know, with everything going on, you know, life is crazy. There's a lot of stuff, you know, us as musicians, it's hard to find our space to be able to creative while we have life. You know, a lot of us have day jobs we have to go to. We have limited time and availability to do what we need to do, you know, as artists, you know what I mean? But that's the purpose of the business plan. So you go and quit your job so you can maximize your time, maximize your potential to execute what you need to do as a musician coming out. So like, yeah, we're all guilty of half stepping, you know, especially when it comes to the business plan. It's an uncomfortable truth that we all have to face at some point. So if you're at a turning point in your career, if you're at a turning point with your music to where you are finally got it together and like, okay, I know what I need to do. I have my production gear. I have this music that I've made. I have somewhat of a direction of what I need to do. And that's a lot of things about executing a business plan as well. It's not just to execute an idea that you already have. It's to walk you through the mental steps you need to understand what all you need moving forward. So even if you don't finish your business plan, even if you don't, you know, complete your work, at least you're taking the steps of thinking about it to where you're working it out, to where if you don't have it documented or dictated, you could at least dictate it personally and be like, I still need to work on my business plan and get it done, but this is what my business plan is. Like me, I could go in most of the detail of what's in my business plan because I know it like the back of my hand. I know exactly where I'm going. I know exactly what I need to do. And as a matter of fact, this business plan, I need to add the book that I'm writing about my family because I didn't include any of that. And that's all a part of what I'm doing. I have to encompass everything that is in my wheelhouse, things that I'm capable of, things that, directions I want to go in the future. And with being such a high output individual, like most of us are as musicians, it's a lot of things that are out there and scattered. You have this one mind and soul and everything as it goes out, it's just, you just have to reel it in. You just have to reel it in and take the pieces and put them together so somebody else coming in from the outside looks at it and says, yeah, that looks reasonable, or I understand it. I mean, putting it in terms that people understand, especially when it comes to business terms, because when it comes to business, you know, business ain't business without a business plan. It's just what it comes down to. And unfortunately, business is a big part of this, but actually, fortunately, because if you have everything together, you could go ahead and find yourself a tax accountant so you don't get caught up on your taxes because you decided to do it all yourself. I'm at my job right now. Shh. Yeah. You know, I'm kind of in the same boat here, and it's not that I've been half stepping, I've just been tremendously busy. And we all are tremendously busy. We all have way too much stuff to do to be making this dissertation. What you're thinking in your mind is this much. This is my business plan. No, your business plan's like this, maybe even this, depending on what it is, but in your mind, it's like, so how do you make this into, squeeze it down to where you could encompass everything and show everybody here? This is all I have on the table. This is everything that I'm done. This is everything, everywhere I'm going. Even if you don't have everything figured out and you're kind of moving and figuring things out on the way, it's good enough to get started to wire your brain into that frame of thinking, because once you get there and start thinking with that mentality, it really is helpful to your success moving forward. And like I said, I don't condescend to give advice or know everything. I mean, who the hell am I here? I'm a nobody, even on YouTube. You know what I mean? And but the few things that I do know, I'm not going to keep it from you guys. And one thing that I've learned through this process of being on YouTube is that the stuff that I've kind of been intentionally suppressing when it comes to my content has really stunted the growth of the channel. Indeed, our day jobs often impede our creative endeavors. I started exploring grants and partnering with angel investors. Yeah, that's the thing to do too. And to your point, when I took a job as a janitor, I did not I did not work on music at all. As a matter of fact, Strange Music had a competition that you write a verse and then you feature with Tech Nine. I forgot what it was called. I'll have to put it in the description or something afterwards. But that happened while I was working my day job as a janitor, and I was a lead custodian. That was, heavy in the union. So I was on the executive board and, the apprenticeship committee and, the workload committee and all that other stuff. So like I had a full boat of daily tasks to complete. And even though I had my time to be alone with my mind, I did not work on music because I was just too stressed out physically. You know what I mean? My body was stressed, so it stressed out my mentality, so I couldn't think and focus on music. And I participated in that competition and I wrote a verse and it was okay. But the execution of that verse was mad weak, you know, um, especially nowadays. And especially with a lot of these communities, like I Am the One Son was just mentioning, there are a lot of grants out there for businesses musically. And I'm learning this about the community that I'm currently in. Not right now, this very second, but where I'm living at, in Southwest Washington, and how do you even get to a point of obtaining said grants? They require a business plan. You cannot get a grant without a business plan. You cannot partake in any investment opportunity on any local level when it comes to the programs that are out there if you do not have a business plan. That's the first thing they ask you for. So if you don't have that business plan, all of a sudden you're closing the doors on a lot of things. Like, you could get grants as an artist, as a musician going out there, depending on where you live locally and what's out there. There are places out there. And just where I live in Southwest Washington just happens to be one of those places. But even as just an artist that wants to perform, you know, I would still need a business plan in order to obtain said grants, you know? But again, what if it's not about money? What if it's just about, getting your business together and making sure that you have a tight wrap on what you're doing? Well, that's the point. Because if you have your shit together in that aspect, when it comes down in your approach to it, you're not going to have to scramble at the last minute to get your shit together. Like I said, we're all guilty of it. I'm currently guilty of it. My business plan is 4 years old, and I'm getting it together. Um, but that's the thing. I also, understand a lot of the flow of the universe and timing and everything like that. It wasn't time. Now it's time. And as it's time and I'm working on this, I figured I'd share this with you guys. Let's see how far. There's my design examples that are not in there. See, this is the rest of the business plan. I haven't read through this in such a long time. And then, yeah, it's a lot because it's on my phone. YouTube. YouTube right here. Look at, I even have Virus Music YouTube, because the Virus Music YouTube was the only thing that existed at the point of me putting together this thing. But look at here. This is where it gets in the weeds, and I'm going to show you guys. I'm gonna move over to the shot side so I can show you guys closer. Phase 1, and go through every detail of phase 1 and what's going to be in phase 1. Do a quick overview, the costs, the layout of everything, and same thing. And then the step up from it, depending on the level of contribution or investment, is going to determine whether this is going to be phase 1 or this is going to be phase 1. Now, this is a lot different from a traditional business plan when it comes to musicians out here, because I'm doing this for a commercial location. So because I'm doing this for a commercial location, I'm putting layouts of what I want to do. And I could share this with you, you know what I mean? This is my sample layout for medium commercial space, which would be medium commercial space would be 1,000 to 3,000 square feet. The investment would be, or the cost would be, about $1,100 to $2,000 per month, depending on it. Commercial real estate is really cheap in comparison to everything. So you got your deposits to consider. You got your build out budget. How much is it going to cost to build out your thing? And I'll touch base on that in a second here as I go through this, and then the totals. But yeah, I have two. This is the first sample layout, a minimal thing, or a bigger sample layout, and how this here, those are workstations right over here. This is the thing for recording music over here, like the studio area. And this is the content area for podcasting and doing visual audio stuff. And even the bathroom. Even the bathroom was considered in my layout, And then I got phase 2 with a bigger layout, and I'll just show you the bigger layout, more workstations, more investment, bigger commercial space. Check out phase 3. Phase 3 of my business plan is a campus. It is a whole campus. I got plans, y'all. So without going into the details of my business plan, that's kind of you know, where I'm at with everything. And this is why the business card is so valuable as well. And this is my old business card. So don't call this phone number because it's not mine. I don't know whose it is. So if you call this number, you'd be harassing somebody. But this is it. And I put that on my business plan to show people, the companies, everything. And I didn't even touch base on this business plan about me as an artist, but it says everything, providing a wide range of artist services: production, beats, recording, mixing, mastering, graphic design, promotions, artist management and development, production, DAW training, business management, retail, website design, studio setup, live sound, and more. This was my business plan in a business card. Your business card should be a representation of your business plan, just for the average person to get to where you need to. The reason why I don't have that on here is because I have these with the idea that I'm performing. Here you are seeing me perform. Check me out on YouTube and on my website, because this is the only place that you're going to get these albums for, because I'm not doing streaming platforms, as we originally planned, and that's just how it goes. So, I mean, I know that everybody's business plan is different. Everybody's life is different. Everybody's execution is different, and the way that you frame things and what your plans are in the future, no matter what they are. You're going to need a business plan. And the reason why you're going to need, got to jump on a video call for my day job. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you for sure. Thanks for the chat. For real. Contributions, to this conversation. Yeah, it may not seem like it's necessary while you're in the beginning stages or while you're in the weeds of making music. But once you are at the post-production element of things, at least when you're at that stage of post-production, cool, man. Talk to you then. You need a business plan. You need a business plan, if not for your own psyche, you know what I mean, to wire your brain into focusing on these things that help maximize your potential for success. Now, you may say, well, who the hell are you to tell me about success? I don't know who you are as an artist. I don't know your businesses. I don't know anything that you've done. Well, go to my website and check it out, because my website's a part of my business card and my business plan. So let me just go to my thing, open a new tab here, and there you go, viralbeats360.com. So I got my front page that has my web store with everything. Look at that converted Tussin for $50. Yeah, and everything on here. But here we go. I have on my website Virus Music. It starts out with Viral Beats because Viral Beats 360 is the website. Viral Beats is the main entity here. Virus Music, which goes through the history. That's me in 2006, right in front of my shop in a stormy day. There are pictures of my shop that I built by scratch. I hand, all this stuff. I had to unload all the stuff from the previous business, start all over. Possibilities are endless distribution. Go through Virus Music, it's the detail, where we started, because this is where we started. We started at the shop. We launched as a business entity at the shop. So Virus Music and Paid were both at the same time. I actually was going to call the shop Virus Music, but I got a partner, and that's something else, So then after the shop, and then, touring and, getting on this 3-year stint, opening up for Tech Nine, and what that meant to the label and our release, moving forward, the production element of being in the studio. There is the G Spot over here, the club that I helped build and then performed and used as a promoter, but I ran live sound on the weekends. There's Pyramix, the studio that I then started recording at and got in business with that guy to open up the Axe at the very same location as the G Spot, because the G Spot got shut down and we wanted to retain that location. So we saved it and or tried to save it and rebuilt it all from scratch. So, and that's me walking away from it. And I'll, express the reasons of that, later on down the road. But after walking away, we immediately went to the Gathering of the Juggalos and performed on second stage as a whole label, everything being what it was. And then 2 years later, Viral Beats was established. So it's all, and then 2 years after that, M Graphics came out. I started doing my own graphics. This graphic of my face was actually done by somebody else who drew it by hand, and I paid them to do it. And I did all the other stuff around there. But that was my first entry into graphic design. And then it has all my releases here, all the Virus Music, all the stuff that has been released under Virus Music. The songs, the instrumental albums. Like I said, everything is under the umbrella of Virus Music. So all the Viral Beats releases are in fact Virus Music releases. So they're on my website. I got that. But then I'm an artist too. So I have my whole thing as an artist here. And while we live in this digital age, look at this fat fuck over here. Oh, this live event is no. I'm gonna have to switch this over here. I wonder why it comes up like that. I'm gonna have to fix that. Oh, it's members only. That's why. But I go down the list of me as an artist over here. Now, you may think about it and say, okay, well, if you have all this stuff on your website, you have all this stuff to promote, you have all this, what do you need a business plan for? If you have it all right there that somebody could see, what do you need a business plan for? Well, the answer to that is that is just a representation of where I'm at and where I've been. I could go ahead and put future stuff like that down on that and dictate that, but I'm not going to plan something or express a plan that has yet to be executed. I'm not going to say, well, this is the plan where we want to go, because shit happens, Not everything gets executed the way that you want to execute it, and that's how it goes. But if you take the time and dictate, a business plan, and keep that separate from the public, and just keep it for yourself and keep it for the people who you associate with, even if you're not looking for investors, even if you're just looking to express something and you don't have time, you're like, I don't got time. Look at this. It's a lot to go through. It's a lot to talk about. When I start talking about my business plan, it's a lot to get in the weeds of. So it becomes a much longer conversation. We've been on for 47 minutes, and I guarantee that 15, 20 minutes of that was me talking about my own business plan and going through the details of that. And that's because there's so much of it. If you don't have time for a conversation, if the person who it wants to involve themselves in your business doesn't have time for the conversation, like all these companies or places that have grants for musicians and other stuff, they don't want to touch you unless you have a business plan. If you don't have a business plan to upload to them, they will not even touch you. So already there's people that won't even have that conversation because they already out the gate don't have time. And if you don't have your stuff available to be able to upload your business plan, you're automatically shooting yourself to where you're not getting your potential maximized in what you want to do with your business, you know? And in this business, especially when it comes to music, we need to maximize every element of potential that we could possibly get, especially with these streaming platforms running amok the way that they have and stuff going down. What's going to happen when the streaming platforms collapse and it becomes a new day, a new age, and it just recycles back into some other fuckery that gets your money taken away from you? If you have a business plan to execute or a business plan that you're in the process of executing, it's a lot more difficult for somebody to come in and take a piece of that and say, hey, or for you to need to rely on them to be able to do something else. So you're like, oh, well, I guess I need to go and do this now just so I'm successful here. And it's like, no. And one of the things that I've realized over my own half-stepping of not having a business plan, that's why I haven't been selling my music on my website. I have all 5 albums, all 5 instrumental albums that Viral Beats developed here and produced on the channel from start to finish. And they're not selling the way that they should. And the reason why they're not selling the way that they should, because I didn't execute a business plan to put in a position to leverage sales of albums. I just went through the motions and did what I did. So when it comes down to the execution of the promotion and marketing aspect of it, I didn't have it dictated, so I didn't execute it. And because of that, it affected my album sales. So that's exactly it. And if I want to do any marketing from this point on, having not dictated it in a business plan, um, I have to dictate it to make sure that I know what I'm doing moving forward, to make sure that my brain is wired to be able to just take some time, even if I'm just setting aside an hour a day to focus on the marketing and do guerrilla marketing or whatever. I don't have any of that in place because I'm half stepping on my business plan and didn't have it set up. So it directly impacts whether you think about it or focus on it or believe it. It directly affects, everything that you're doing. If you don't have that business plan, you are shortchanging yourself in a lot of moves that you could be making here in the industry. So when you get to complaining about things and like, oh, I haven't made it this, I haven't done this, the first question that comes to mind is, what's your business plan look like? What's your business plan? How's that business plan coming along? As the title says, Um, and it's not something that a lot of people consider for music. But like I said, even as an artist, if you're just producing an album and moving forward with that, you should have a business plan for that too. Because there's so many avenues an album could go. There's so many places an album or music can be received. Um, if you're not exploring those avenues because you've just been wired to this traditional method of, I'm going to upload it, it's going to be on streaming, I'm going to market the streaming, and then I'm going to get billions of streams and get paid thousands of dollars. Like, it's insane. It's insane. And we have been a bunch of insane people out here operating under the guise of music with no business acumen. Octawader, welcome. What's up? Have a nice day. Love and warm esteem to any of your initiatives. Plan is the best idea. Yeah. There should be a SMTH to base and rely. Those who look back, those and on to move forward. Yeah. My bad. I butchered that reading it. '05 Dynasty, welcome. Ryan Leslie is an American singer, songwriter, record producer, and entrepreneur. This man had an amazing business plan that he followed through with. Yeah, was able to sell direct to fan, which set him up for life. And that's the thing. That's the purpose for a business plan. Because something that you dictate in your business plan could potentially set you up for success for the rest of your time. And as much as we like to get our bitch on, especially nowadays, a lot of it's because there's nothing reflected in a business plan, and there's not that wired synapses that is executing something that has been dictated, and these avenues are not being explored. And if anything, those are all the reasons to have a business plan. Yes, I have everything on my website. I have everything expressed on my website. I have everything for sale on my website. I could market that website. I could hand out these business cards all day and get people to my website with flyers and all that other stuff. But does it tell anybody where I'm going? It kind of does. People can infer it here and there, but you're not just going to release publicly what your plans are, especially if you're not going to execute them the same way that you've had planned, or something happens to where your business plan needs to be modified, or, it doesn't happen for you the way that you wanted it to. You got to be prepared to be unprepared. You got to be prepared for the abstract, for everything that could potentially come your way. Every expense that may arise in addition to that. Set a budget for things and dictate that budget. A lot of a business plan, most of it is just the financials and going down and setting yourself up to where you're not going to exceed or change, any kind of thing um that would interfere with your execution. And it's important. It's really important. And as I'm over here, in South Dakota, out of all places, just starting to revisit my business plan over here, I started thinking about all these things, and I'm like, man, I've been one half stepping motherfucker out here. I've been slipping, and yeah, I've been doing other things and focusing on other things. But if I would have taken the time out of my day and just executed a little bit here and there every single day of this business plan, I wouldn't have this whole business plan to rework. You know, I would just have a little bit of detail to pick up on and then put back together and glue it up and put it out there. You know what I mean? It's not like you're releasing your business plan to the public, but I'm saying, once you have that representation, what happens if you do want to get some kind of business going with a record label? How easy do you think that's going to be if you have your thing, your business plan, you just set it on the table there? And you start talking about it like a PowerPoint, you know? You have it all here as a presentation to be like, here, you know, you're all of a sudden in that same class of those same people that are sitting in that meeting room with you. And as a matter of fact, you may set yourself up as being, having more business acclimate than a couple people in that room, no matter where they are or how important they are, you know? If you have your shit together, you have your shit together. People could argue it all they want because their own half stepping, but there's no real argument to make if you just whip it out and put it on the table. I don't mean to make puns here and everything, but yeah, being ready. That's what it's about. It's about being ready. And we're getting ready here. We're getting ready here to make a big move and doing something big here. And I've done this before. This is not my first business plan that I had a business plan for the Axe. I had a business plan for Paid. I had a business plan for Virus Music. I had a business plan for Viral Beats. I had a business plan for M Music. And then I put them all together under the same umbrella and just had one business plan with all these subsidiaries, considering myself as an artist, considering the artists that we'd be working with and the things that we'd be doing after that. And yeah, you guys don't know me. Some of you guys do. I mean, here in YouTube, but like beyond YouTube as an artist, I mean, you could look up, certain things here and there, but with a name like Virus, that shit's buried, and that's how I wanted it at first. But on a marketing level, probably not the best idea. However, it's attached to me. It's attached to who I am because it's literally tattooed on my arm. It's literally my name. It's a part of my name. I mean, it may not be my legal name, but it's pretty close. It's pretty close. You could name all of one name out there that rhymes with virus, and there you go. And those who like to do riddles, there's my real name. So yeah, I just wanted to get on here and make this the conversation today as we get into our daily live streams here from where we're at. And we'll do this when we get back home too. So 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, we'll be doing these conversations, and it'll just be different every day depending on what's going on. And right now, as I was digging through this business plan, I was just like, yeah, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, guys, because I'm working on this and I feel not alone in it because I'm not the only one working on a business plan right now, but considering the numbers out there, how many people of us are on YouTube? How many YouTubers think developed a business plan before they started their YouTube? How many artists here on YouTube started a business plan before they got out there as an artist? I sure as hell didn't. You know, it just it's something that is not considered by many and kind of swept under the rug. But all of us content creators have discussed it. We've all, most of us in the music zeitgeist and production tube, have talked about it to some extent. And this channel here in particular is all about reflecting what's going on this side, so I could show you guys, um, you know, oh Titus, close, close, but it's more exact. Virus, Titus, isn't Russ. Close though, close. As a matter of fact, yeah. Shout out to Christopher Titus. Anyway, um, yeah. So that's pretty much it here. As I'm going through this and showing you guys what I'm doing, this is a part of it. And right now I'm working on this business plan, and as I'm thinking about it and going through it, I'm like, let's have the conversation because we haven't, I mean, I talked about a little like I'm working on this business plan, but a lot of people would like to see, and we will revisit this conversation when I'm done with my business plan. I'm going to show it off publicly. And it's not because I need it to be out there for everybody to see. It's because by the time I show it to you guys, we're already going to be in the execution stages. That was my stomach growling, by the way, if you guys heard that shit. Take care, Carbon Vibes. We're getting out of here too. So yeah, we're gonna revisit. I appreciate you. Octoator, you're cheating. You already knew. Salute to you, my friend. Yeah, it's needed, this conversation. It's needed. A business plan is for sure in every element of what you're doing in music, especially, because it definitely separates yourself um, from a lot, you know, and you need that separation to put yourself up as somebody who knows what they're doing and knows what they're talking about. And all of a sudden, a business plan all of a sudden makes you more serious. It all of a sudden makes you more serious as a person. It all of a sudden makes you more serious. People could look at my shops and like look at them and be like, yeah, whatever. But with a business plan, yeah, all of a sudden you go from here to here, and we all need to be here because shit is hitting the fan here in the music industry, here on YouTube and everything. So, like I said, we will revisit this. When I'm done with the business plan, it'll be in execution phase. So I'm not going to put it out there for the sake of obtaining or achieving investors. I'm just going to put it up there so you guys could see the amount of work that I put into this business plan and exactly all that I'm doing, because again, this channel is to show you guys the process that I've been keeping hidden from people in this industry for the past more than a decade. I knew it as well, but didn't know how to spell it. Spell it. Shout out to you, my friend. Yeah, I said that don't look right. Yeah. Yeah. Appreciate you guys. Yeah. For those who made it this far and aren't subscribed, do so and send a like on the way out. And yeah, we'll be back for more tomorrow. Same bat time. We'll have a different discussion then. And I already know what that discussion is going to be. So it's going to be fun times for you guys and us. And you know what? When it comes to, a business plan, it shouldn't be so intimidating. It shouldn't be such a drag. And the only reason why it is because the work that goes into it and the lack of familiarity and regular, you know, thoughts of business up here as musicians. But we all need to do it, especially nowadays. It's even more important than ever to need a business plan, whether it be a digital business plan or a physical one. I think you should get a digital one because you're obviously going to have to upload it if you need to do that. Um, but then, print it out as well so you have a physical one. So if you do have any business meetings, you could just say, hey, I used to carry my business plan around with me everywhere I went to where if I ever ran into anybody, because the universe is like that, connects these dots and does these things, and I really appreciate you guys being up in here for this conversation and contributing to the conversation because it's a valuable conversation to have and more people see it and the more it gets around, the easier it is going to be for all of us, moving forward. And as far as this business goes, and what I'm doing with Virus Music, Viral Beats, M Graphics, and me as an artist, Virus, there's also the YouTube thing to consider. There's production and all the other stuff. Have a digital business card, yeah, yeah, and that's the move. I've just recently been getting into like QR codes and everything like that. Sorry for visiting so rarely and late today. You know what? I'm not tripping off of it. I'm not even concerned about it. I understand the way that YouTube is ingested. My weak ass hair. I just saw it through the thing and been shut. Yeah. I get how YouTube is ingested and it's more of a passive platform than a direct, depending on things and kind of because of not having my own business plan here as a YouTube channel, I've just been kind of winging it here and just doing things and learning the algorithms and going through this zeitgeist, as a musician, highly disgruntled because of the not only algorithmic fuckery, but the content creators that are worse gatekeepers in the music industry and talk that bullshit behind the scenes the same way, you know but none of that matters to the grand scheme of things. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you when you do show up, all the lurkers. I appreciate you guys, past viewers, everything. I'm all good with it. I told O5 Dynasty because, I've been kind of passive on his channel. I said, yo, you know, don't let me get started on that topic. You should have saw it earlier at the beginning of this. Somebody was on some racial shit with me, like right off the bat. I'm like, God, man, really? Yeah, no, I saw that. I saw Diddy in your chat yesterday. Man, crazy. And in this crazy world full of crazy people, we have to have this level of sanity by balancing out our business and music, and a business plan is just the way to do that. So that's why it's an important conversation. That's why it's important that we have this live, and that's why it's important that we move forward. And I show you guys my work, once it's done, and we're already in the execution and implementation stages, and it's not going to take very long because I already have a lot of it together and already been working on it. But like I said, I got to go to drawing board with a lot of this shit because everything that's happened on this platform so far, and it's been 4 years, there's been a lot of changes and a lot of understanding that I need to include in that business. So everything happens for a reason, and I'm better for it, for not doing it. And that's the thing here. Not doing a business plan was the best thing for me because it brought me here to where I'm doing a business plan in a more complete way, with all this stuff that I've been doing attached to it, on the YouTube as well. So it's actually better for me, but there's some things, like I said, I could have done better with my record sales, with my marketing, with the converted Tussin sound pack, all that stuff. If I would have had a business plan in place instead of just pushing it through like I did. And because of that, I lack the sales I need to compete in this industry. But that's the thing, I'm not focused on the sales right now. I got this business plan to execute, but I don't even have it dictated yet because I'm over here, operating off a 4-year-old business plan. I agree with you. The time helped for sure. appreciate you. All right, guys, I'll let you get to it today. You know, like I said, like, subscribe, all that jazz, and do what you can to support the channel moving forward. And we'll be back tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I think the PA speaker is ready for pickup now. And because of that, we're going to go get the speaker. We're going to take this Mini Freak Stellar, and we're going to go to Mount Rushmore and try to synth it up with Mount Rushmore in the backdrop. And I'll get on the topic of that when the time comes. But yeah, tomorrow will be interesting. Thank you for an amazing stream. Yeah, appreciate you. I appreciate you. You are welcome, my friend, for sure. Take care, everybody. Love y'all. Peace.